Infinite ammo.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the IAS podcast special on our all collective thoughts on PC gaming launchers and the competition between all of them right now. There's Steam, there's GOG Galaxy, there's Uplay, Origin, Epic Game Store is the big one now. Even Discord, which we're currently using to record this, has Game Launcher on it. So we're going to talk about them, discuss them today with the other guests here. I'm Bane. Got Renegade Operative.
Hey folks, how's it going on? Let's have a good discussion today.
Yep. We got Cryo.
Hello, audience.
We got Llama.
Hello there.
And we got Konso.
Good evening.
All right, and we're just gonna jump straight into the first topic. So, after seeing all the pros and cons the Steam's had over the years, what are the focal things you think that need to improve in your eyes with that service?
Quality control. Because I noticed that in recent years, there's been like a big decrease in quality in the games that are offered on Steam, because you can find basically everything, and that means bad stuff than good stuff most of the times.
Yeah. So kind of like your like achievement, basically kind of designed to get card drops and shit. Those games.
Yes, those kind of games also. The kind of games that get just released incomplete, but not in the sense that they are in early access, but just put there incomplete without any care. And there's been several cases also of malware disguised as games. I don't remember the titles, but so yes, Valve needs to bring back some quality control.
Yeah, I remember Valve was making cool games like, Left 4 Dead, Team Fortress, Half-Life. Half-Life 3 is never going to come out. But I think they should have more quality control, more, PC exclusive games from third party or first party. No, actually, I think first party would be nice because they would be, putting out more quality games that people loved in the past with their old IPs. So that would be good. And I think no DRM would also be nice because GOG is doing that as well. And that's the one up that they have. What's going to happen to my library 20 years down the line is a very, very important question.
Yeah. I would personally say I wish the user interface was a lot better. Steam hasn't really updated the user interface except for the friends window and the chat. That's the only thing they've changed in the last 5 fucking years.
Yeah, the UI is the same, but they kind of allow you to customize your skins and everything. I still like that, but it's kind of basic right now, so they should overhaul it just a little bit. But part of me thinks that if it was changed, some people would complain about it. Because, I don't like my stuff changed, so I don't know if they're going to complain about it or not.
I get that.
Yeah, I mean, with me, I hate the fact that some games, like on Steam, it requires you to be online first, because that's, in my opinion, that's kind of like a big drawback. I mean, the forums can be also messy, and the launcher itself can be buggy as hell, and sometimes the reviews also, it's not very good in my opinion.
To some credit, I will give them the benefit of the doubt with the filter. That did kind of help. So if you don't want troll reviews, you can go find something more legitimate or what people voted on. But yeah, it is kind of the Wild West if you're looking for more credible reviews, but at least they added the filter, so I give them some credit.
I'll also defend Valve on one thing. Sometimes the games need to be online for you to play them. Sometimes that's the devs.
Sometimes it's it links from Steam to Uplay or some other launcher, and that's kind of confusing.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that because
it's Ubisoft, so it's just fucking Ubisoft.
Yeah. And I don't mind that too much. All right, so you guys want to jump into the next question?
Sure.
All right.
Unless Llama has something to say.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think they need to fucking do something. That's all they really need to do. I mean, let's
improve something.
Well, they need to improve pretty much everything. But what have they done in the past year aside from
the chat
update?
Friend? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. And let's face it, everyone already uses Discord anyway, so it's sort of been like an update that no one's really noticed. And I mean, like they've got
It's a good effort.
many.
It's a good effort.
So
they've got.
let's be a little bit more like specific. For this chat update, what specifically did they do to Steam?
They improved the user interface. The messaging system is a lot like Discord's. They even have a better group chat and calling system, which is literally just like a rip-off of how Discord does it.
I had to ask
And you can
because
have channels.
I did not know that Steam allowed like chat calling in groups. That's new to me.
Yeah, they've had that for a very long time.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but you've never used it because
yeah.
of Discord.
You're
Well,
right
and
about that,
Skype.
actually. Just
Skype and Mumble back then were way better also.
Skype, who? We don't use that anymore.
Not anymore, no.
I'll say something unpopular, but I prefer the say something unpopular, but I prefer the old user interface more when it comes to chats and friends, etc. It felt more clean, I guess,
I can understand
more
for
minimalistic,
chat, but
more square.
I kind of prefer it for friends, just because you can easily like link favorites up of a little top thing instead of having them their own drop-down window. I kind of prefer that.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely, I think that we should need more options with user interfaces, like say with the Windows, or at least how it used to be. I know it was like this with Windows 7, but you could like, they'd update the user interface, but you could switch it back to older versions.
Yeah.
Like you could be using
Like
Windows
Arrow
7,
from-
but with the Windows 95 interface, which I mean, not only do you like, can you also always stick to what you're used to, but also the thing is, the more like complicated the user interface is, the more like it taxes the computer
like RAM,
that you're
CPU
using.
and all that.
Yeah. And I mean, I would personally prefer a new user interface, especially with the goddamn library. I mean, what I really want is a goddamn like way to filter through like tags or just something with my games. I've got goddamn like over 900 games on my Steam account, and it is almost impossible to like find 90% of them because it's all just like in one long list.
Yeah.
And like unless I want and if I want to say, you know, find a game that's got local multiplayer in it, I have to actually like go through each one of them manually, click on the store page so I can find the tag, and then like if I want to find it again later, I'll have to like create a category for local multiplayer and then add it there, and then like I have to do it again for every other local multiplayer game, and it's just so tedious when I just want to play a game. Like literally they've got the filters like in the store. Why can't they just sort of implement it in the goddamn library and I can actually play the goddamn game?
I do agree. They need to implement them with the library because it's kind of messy right now.
Oh, also, one quick thing before we jump into the next one. They need to improve big picture mode so much. Anyways, let's jump into question 2 here.
Well, before we jump to 2, I was also thinking about something. They really need to be more, what's the word, developer friendly, because it seems like to me like Steam takes a lot of the profit in the end. I mean, I know it doesn't matter to like bigger companies, but like people who put their game on Steam and they're like really small, it's a little bit of a disadvantage for them.
I think we're gonna bring that up in a later topic also. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. So, question 2. What is everyone here's first-hand experience of the Epic Game Store? I'm gonna jump in really. I was gonna jump in with Unreal Tournament when that was being developed for a while.
Yeah, Unreal Tournament played good. It was fun, but I didn't like play it for way too long because other games came out. I think this was
Also,
around
they
the
didn't
time.
work on it for often.
Yeah, you're right about that.
It's pretty much abandoned now.
Yeah, I think
At
Doom
least
came
it's not
out.
like Paragon, but
Doom came out, so I just dropped it entirely. But it played good. I haven't played anything else on the launcher itself. There are some things that I don't like about it. Like, it is very, very limited, but I told myself, hey, just baby steps. They're just starting out, so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I don't like the fact that your username and email, if you change it like once, because my old email is like invalid, they give you like, they say, oh, you can't change your name and email for like 6 months or something, and I'm like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
Yeah, so that's kind of weird to me. Just try to change your email and see what happens. It's gonna give you a warning message about you can only change it in a few months anyway. But that's the only thing that I had like negatives with. Everything else was, you know, they're setting up mods. They're setting up user-friendly tools for people who want to create games with the Unreal Engine. That's nice. They have a mod.
But you said it well. They are setting them up for developers.
Yeah.
And not for the end users.
Yeah, I agree. They have a lot of stuff for developers, but not end users. That's kind of like weird.
And it ties into the next question as well.
Yeah, it does go into question
that leads into question 4 actually on one of that. But
question 4, okay.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's quite a smart way to go about it, at least at first. Because when you're first wanting to like build a good store and a good launcher platform type thing, you want it to be attractive to developers. Like the way Steam made it was, it was basically like a badge of honor. Like he made it onto Steam because at first they were like super picky with their games. Yeah, and like when you get the games, you know, people will come. But I think definitely like making it extremely developer friendly, I think is a good way to go about that, especially like compared to the exclusives, which is like used to be one of the best thing about PC is like no exclusives, but no, it's whatever. But like I think as far as getting users go, I mean I think the free games is a good angle. Like, and of course there's Fortnite, which is going to be a big draw, and that's all you really need to do for getting
people in there.
Getting people in is just get good games on it, and I definitely think making it developer friendly is a really good way to go about that.
Yeah, there is ways.
They are starting well, but they needed to get all the other features out quickly, because otherwise, I mean, they dropped the hook with the free games, but they can't reel in players if they keep on keeping their launcher bare bones. And also, I was reading some criticism about the Epic launcher that it is not privacy compliant. I was reading some Reddit comment of a guy that said that yes, the Epic launcher is not GDPR compliant for people here in the European Union. So basically, people can Epic can sell our information freely, pretty much.
Oh, that's bad.
And considering that,
go ahead.
We're talking about a company that is owned by the 40%, I think, the 40% of Epic is owned by a Chinese company.
Yes, Tencent.
Tencent is like a majority share.
Yes, and I don't remember them being caring of privacy.
So there is some things to play devil's advocate with. Cloud saves is one of those things we're going to talk about later, but I think the lack of them is going to kind of hurt some people, because I mean, we had those moments where we had to reset our PC and we might lose our saves, and that's not good. I don't want to like be stuck in that situation where I almost 100% a game and I have to play it all the way over because I lost my save, you know.
Well, do you want to just lead into question 3 now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So, as a lot of people know, the only thing that Epic Game Store really has right now is friends list and chat. They're slowly adding things in, but right now there's no other services like Steam, like user profiles, user reviews, forums, mod distributions. groups, account sharing, stuff like that. So, how do you guys feel about the fact that Epic currently doesn't have those at the moment compared to Steam? I'm going to lead into this one really fast. I can
Well-
understand why, as they're just starting. Steam's had, how many years? Over 10 to get all this
13.
shit there.
Well-
13, yeah.
Steam
Uh,
started in like 2007, right?
It was 2004, I think.
Yeah,
Oh,
2004. So they've had a very long time
That's
to
a
work
long
on this.
time.
Well,
And I mean, let's be fair. They took a lot of stuff from everything over time. You know, PlayStation,
I
Xbox.
mean-
They took stuff from. A lot of this was taken over time.
Yeah, and technically Steam was like really bad for like the first
First
6
4
years or
years,
so?
5. Yeah,
I don't remember. Like I could.
it really
I-
took
I
until
was a bit young.
2008.
I was a bit young when like Steam first came out, and I didn't even really like start gaming for a very long time after that. But like from what I've heard, like looking back at it was sort of a joke at first. Steam, like a ball ache that you had to use to get Half-Life 2, and that was pretty much it. Like no one liked it, and then I think it was the Steam sales really that got it going.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm like, huh? Oh, sorry.
which is probably like the main thing I'm annoyed about missing from Epic. Just like less sales. Like once they start doing good sales, like Steam or GOG or whatever, then that's when I'm gonna start buying games from them, because I only ever really buy games on sale.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of being a little too harsh on Epic Games, but I don't know. I'm a little bit turned away from it because, I mean, it's like they just released it just to release it, just to get some of that cash. You know, just try to be like, get a little piece of that cash cow, if you know what I mean. Because the way it seems to me is, like I said, they just decided, oh, hey guys, we're gonna do this launcher. It's gonna be great, and then
They've
they
had
just
this launcher
release
for
it.
a while.
Just-
Yeah.
I mean, because I don't know. That's just how I see it. I mean, it would be really nice if people could like leave reviews or see reviews. Period. I mean,
Yeah,
they should also add, we should be allowed to like, for some games that have that support mods and everything, they should be allowed to do so. You know, kind of like what Steam has set up. And
So you mean like Steam Workshop?
yeah, and I mean, especially since the mod community is so huge, it would boost Epic Games' numbers as well. And actually, if Epic Games really want to be successful with their launcher and appease to the audience and say, hey, our launcher is better than any out there, they should take Steam's strongest and weakest points and
make
find out how to make those weakest points stronger to make the launcher stand out more.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem with that is that if you want someone to create a launcher that's going to be able to compete with Steam, you're going to need like a big corporation who can who have the capital to like develop a launcher and get the games in without just basically not being able to keep up, because like Steam is a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yeah, and Steam has
Always,
a license for a lot of the games there, and Epic Games,
Yeah.
they don't really have the license to sell as many games.
Yeah, and the thing with Steam is that it's already like going on for like a decade and a half ahead of pretty much like most of the competition. Like that, like I don't think that anyone that it was basically just without any competition for like a decade. And the problem is that it's allowed it to get complacent, but it's also allowed it to like sort of get too big to fail. So pretty much every company that's trying to go up against it is like basically trying to climb a like 10-mile high wall. And and you see like with Good Old Games, it's like pretty much the only one of the few launchers out there.
Yeah, I mean,
without like the purpose of making money. It's like the whole point of it is, oh, we don't like DRM, so we're going to make a launcher. And you see people really like neglecting it with mods and updates, which is a real shame, because like I want competition for Steam, but at the same time, if it's just like a soulless corporation like going, oh, we want a piece of this pie, and completely like not like missing the point of a centralized launcher where you have all your games, and just thinking, oh well, Steam's successful, we want to make some money, so we're going to get our own thing.
Okay,
like
so
Uplay and like Epic Games and like Origin.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna like look down on them or anything like that. I mean, to be honest, I mean, I have a little bit of high hopes for Epic Games. I mean, with what they've accomplished, you know, so far and everything, and the way they look in the eyes of the public, I mean, it seems like it's so far so good.
Okay, but real quick, I just want to interject. I mean, GOG seems to be doing well with that whole no DRM thing, and they have like good functions and everything. I haven't heard any major complaints out of GOG. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. But I also know that Epic Games, it seems to be some sort of, you know, positivity coming out of the fact that they do support developers. That does lead into question 4, because there are like a lot of timed exclusives coming down the pipeline as well, and that is sort of mixed between the community. Some people like it, some people hate it.
Okay, yeah,
I've never heard anyone liking it.
Some people do actually like it. They said, you know, if they're all for Epic Games, which, you know, there's always two sides to each equation. Someone likes something, someone hates something. Most people that are for it, they do like the fact that they're getting exclusive content, and they felt Steam needed something like that. But at the same time, timed exclusives, I didn't like it for other platforms. I don't like it here, so...
all right, I'm gonna go into this. Okay, so in the interest of fairness, considering that Epic Games is kind of just starting out with basic baby steps regarding the store, what do you guys think of a prospect of things they're offering in the future right now? That does include the one free game every 2 weeks, support for gaming titles made in Unreal Engine, timed exclusive deals, lenient refund rules, fair developer profit share, and open platform for Android-based games. I think, you know, especially the free games, that's great. There's some games on there where I'm like, all right, yeah, I won't mind playing that finally. And, you know, devs should get proper support for wanting to work with Unreal. But yeah, the timed exclusive deals, the 2 that have came out so far, the Division 2, I'm fine because there wasn't pre-orders on Steam already, so that makes sense. But the Metro Exodus shit is fucking bullshit. And we'll get into that one.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that at all. Just the way they've been acting about it, saying, oh, if you guys don't support this game on this platform specifically, then we're going to not do any Metro games on PC anymore. That's kind of bullshit. Hopefully it's a lesson learned to all developers that you shouldn't snuff out the user base of a platform just because you don't take into account like multi-platform sales. Everything else looks kind of fine on here outside of, you know, the timed exclusive things. I'm not sure about those lenient refund rules, because I think they give you way too much time to refund the game. I think it's like, isn't it 2 hours compared to like Steam, which is like 1?
I think it's 2 hours. Oh no, Steam's 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
Steam has 2 hours and 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 hours. 2 hours when you play it total, and then 2 weeks after you buy
of purchase.
whichever comes first. Yeah.
But they have some sort of 14-day rule as well, where you can like refund due to any reason within those 2 hours. So I'm not sure if people are going to abuse that or not, but they said there's not going to be any refund abuse. But you know, fair developer profit share, that's good. And I'm not sure how I feel about the last one, like an open platform for Android-based games. I mean, if you're into mobile stuff, then yeah, that's good for you. But for me, I personally could care less about mobile phone games. So,
What, don't you have phones?
yeah, I have a phone, but I don't play games
That's
on it.
strange.
I do not play games on my phone.
I didn't know about this. I'm quite looking forward to it because the thing is, I quite like playing games on my phone, and I'm perfectly happy with like you know, a lot of the games that I find on it. There are some very good games out on mobile, and I think like disregarding it as a platform, like people, same thing happened to the Wii, I think, because it's so accessible and a lot of people use it, and there are obviously going to be a lot of games that take advantage of that. But I mean, the same thing happened with the PS2. Like, that game was absolutely filled with shovelware, but at the end of the day, there was like so many good games for it, and I think that once like stuff like this, taking Android like based games onto PC where they can be taken more seriously, and coupled with that, like the ease of development compared to a lot of PC games, I think that that's going to be very good for the industry, and it's probably going to be a very good starting off point for young developers, and it's going to like give us a lot of talent for the future.
See, I'm not sure about the shovelware thing, because like I think that's what Konzo was saying earlier. Like, Steam has big time shovelware as it stands now, so that's why they need quality control there. As for mobile, I consider those games, I don't think they're bad, but just, you know, you want to waste time for like 20 to 30 minutes on a flight or something. It's basically like, you know, you want to waste your time and you don't want to play those games like super seriously or competitively. But it is cool to see stuff like, you know, Fortnite or PUBG on mobile. People could play those games on the go. So it just shows that technology is really advancing, and now, you know, they're taking mobile into consideration. I always liked handhelds, you know, traditional stuff. So I'm just wondering what they could do in the future, the more phones advance and the more graphics come into the equation.
Yeah, I mean, with mobile at the moment, I think a lot of the better games like remind me of the simple gameplay loops of like the really early consoles, like maybe NES. And I think what we all we really need is to just like wait a minute, because the thing is, they're sort of being compared to like games on really powerful machines like PS4 and Xbox and PC, and I don't think that that's going to work. That's just like not the right way to look at it, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying it. I don't mean to cut you off or anything like that, but I mean, I was just thinking, like, there's probably a reason why they also added the fact that they're gonna add mobile games to Epic. I mean, the fact that most of Epic is owned by Tencent.
Actually, only 40%.
Oh, 40%.
Still majority share.
But I mean, still though, they want to appease to Tencent pretty much, because you know, they have to.
I'll say this: Tencent is massive on its own, and they're like in the long term.
And plus, I mean, in
they do pretty well.
I know the Chinese gaming market. I've heard that mobile gaming is fairly popular, more popular than the States.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just put two and two together. I mean, that's how I see it, because since Tencent is a Chinese company, and I know that the Chinese market, especially for mobile games, it's really popular because that's what people were saying when
Actual phones?
with Diablo Immortal when that announced, a lot of people in the comments they were like, they're just doing this to appease the Chinese market, like because there's a lot of people out there that play mobile games because it's huge, more huge than the US.
Oh yeah.
All right, so I think we
yeah.
can segue into the next question.
I was just about to lead him in here.
was-
All right.
Mhm.
So considering Steam has been kind of denying games like visual hentai novels, and Epic Games apparently won't be allowing adults-only content on their store at all, what are your guys' opinion on this ongoing topic?
And it's
I-
the golden chance for somebody to step in and get that piece of cake of the market.
That
Maybe
is true.
somebody-
Yeah,
somebody-
Yeah, I mean,
they just
I don't-
It's only
screw up.
on that kind of games, make a front end for those kind of games, and because I mean it's still a piece of industry that is profitable because the world is full of degenerates. So
yeah,
I
I
mean-
mean,
Okay, here's
that's all I
fantasy
not
world
much
question.
have to say.
Here's fantasy world question, right? What if it's Origin that starts putting on hentai games?
Ooh, EA.
$20 to remove the bra.
EA.
You know what?
Oh.
Depending on how big those titties are, I'll pay that $20.
Ah, no.
Oh, that's a one microtransaction I'll pay for.
Pay $5.99 to open her loot box.
You know?
Okay, in all seriousness, I've played Sakura Spirit as a joke, and those games really don't appeal to me personally. At the same
joke.
time, yeah, it was a joke. Someone gifted me that, by the way. I fuck you. By the way, I'm letting you know that. So, it was fun to give in on the joke, but as a game, seriously, it really didn't appeal to me. But I don't think that they should be taking that away from people who are interested in that sort of thing. Yeah, there's a market share for degenerates, as Konzo said, so I guess someone is going to swoop that up eventually, and maybe they'll start selling it. Maybe they'll sell it on Origin, who knows?
I mean, if someone wants to grip it and rip it, I'm fine with that.
Grip it and rip it. Jesus, Bane.
Yeah, my phrasing's great.
because I just thought about it. I kind of see why they did that. Nowadays there's always people who'd love to use something like that against a company and just cause such an uproar. With the way society is nowadays,
Yeah.
and also
outrage
the
culture and shit like
investors,
that.
yeah, and
I'm
also
not gonna get too political,
investors.
but it is kind of funny that you could blow someone's head off with a shotgun and
But titties.
you see a titty and it's like, well, this game has to get censored and banned. It's just ridiculous.
And
It is
and I
kind of
mean-
nuts.
Also, I'm probably wrong here, but this is just how I see it. Also investors, I don't think they would like it, especially if someone said, "Oh, Square Enix / Disney accepts nudity and adult content,"
Yeah.
And
So the sad thing is I can see people
but-
doing that.
and actually, I'm not against it. Definitely not. But I think if there was actually adult content, like adult games on these launchers, they could only be accessed through extremely verified accounts.
Yeah.
You have to do a lot just to get verified.
I think this is a generational thing. There's been people who hasn't complained about this in the past, so they're complaining about it now, which is weird to me.
I think it's gonna, for some of these games, it's gonna end up being like some games like, I'm gonna reference a game I fucking hate here, League of Legends, where you have to go on their website and download the launcher. A lot of these games are gonna have to end up being like that, I think. It's sad to say. It really is.
Yeah, but I think, you know, if you care about boobs, I think they shouldn't take away the ability to sell it. I just think that, you know, it's adults only content and Steam sells it. So, I mean, you might as well just go ahead and say, hey, this is adults only. We don't really care too much if it's sold, if it's not sold. It's just something people that are into. And I don't know. I guess they could probably sell it somewhere else that allows that sort of thing. If they want to just disconnect completely, maybe they will.
Well, there are also some devs who have like sold a censored version of it, but said, "Hey, if you go to our website, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, you can download this patch to."
Yeah, do the same thing that they did for Honey Pop. If you want to, you know, put a mature rating on it, then you sell it, and then you have the patch that allows the uncensoring if people are into that sort of thing and they want to apply the patch.
Exactly. It's either going to be that or sell it on your own website and just market the fuck out of it.
Pornhub.com/games.
Pornhub.
You know, hang on. You know what? If Pornhub makes a launcher, they could genuinely beat Steam, I think.
Yes.
They do have a lot of viewers, so I mean, the possibilities are endless.
They need to make a YouTube competitor.
Oh my god.
Pornhub has the best user interface out of any of these fucking websites, and I just want to make a goddamn YouTube competitor. What the fuck?
So we're gonna launch
point.
the TIS After Dark podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, we need to.
Yeah.
I could review every single porno I've watched.
Oh my god, man.
All right, we're gonna lead into the next question after I just dropped that bombshell. How do you guys feel about the features offered by GOG Galaxy and their policy of no DRM? I've used GOG Galaxy for a long ass time. The moment they said, "Hey, we got a new launcher," I'm like, "All right."
I mean, the thing is, the good thing is, I'd say, about Galaxy is that it's not mandatory. For instance, I think I tried it just once for the sake of it, but that's it, because with the advantage that it is DRM free, I don't need to install anything but the game.
I'd say it's a lot easier to use, though.
Yes, and there's also this fact that I think it was said before, but with this no DRM thing, we can say that you actually own the games instead of being tied to your account. Say
no
the
DRM,
Steam...
no nothing. Yeah,
exactly. If the Steam servers go flying someday, we lose everything. But if I set up my another PC with an archive with all the GOG games in it, whatever happens, I still have my games.
Oh yeah.
And there was also this thing that they wrote down that they are also good if you want to do one thing that used to happen once upon a time called the LAN party. That you know that you don't have to cycle through accounts or stuff like that. Just install the game in all the PCs, link them together, and play.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they're going very strong into the game. I mean, as for no DRM, I think it's a wise choice, as I mean, it's a lot of the majority of gamers prefer no DRM. I mean, it seems like they're trying to be user friendly.
I tended to do that as well. There's one thing though that I noticed that it happened recently. In some games, GOG users were treated about as second-class citizens compared to Steam users. There is also a list of games on GOG.com, I think, that mentioned this thing. Some features were cut, or some patches weren't added, DLC not added, and that kind of stuff, and which is
sad.
I guess the con, if you want, of using DRM free for now. I think if I can find it. In the meantime, you can go on.
It kind of sucks because there are some games that they have online features, but they're locked out because they're all using Steam servers and all that. So it's kind of a pain in the ass for some games, but other games you get really lucky on.
I played Shadow Warrior 2 on GOG Galaxy, and I really liked it. The game played really nice. I didn't have an issue. No DRM is nice. It means that, hey, 20 years down the line, my game will probably still function without any online horseshit tied behind it. So it is a good notion. I'm just not experienced with their store. They do have sales, which is pretty good. I always gravitate to how low a game is and when I can pick it up. So they have some nice perks, but I do think they need more, recognition for the things they do, and upgrading your features would be nice with the competition out there. I think it's always good to take from competition. It's always good to do things that they aren't doing currently. So that's the best thing they could do, is try to improve on what you have and make your store more recognizable to people that are unaware to it.
Oh yeah.
I think with GOG, they've got the problem of, like, for starters, they're run by CD Projekt Red, who are like significantly smaller than most of the people running the competition out there, like EA or Ubisoft or Valve or Epic.
Definitely.
But also, I think they've got the problem of they're trying to play nice in an industry where no one ever really plays nice. And while you'd think that that'd be something for that people would flock to, because gamers are always complaining about how shit EA and Ubisoft are and all that. But I mean, they're always like the very vocal minority, and there aren't really enough consumers out there who are like savvy enough to even know what DRM is or what GOG is, and like just having a policy of like, we want to be nice to the consumer is not going to be enough, and which I think is a very big shame, because I quite like GOG, obviously.
I mean, it's true, it's not going to be enough, but at the same time, the consumer doesn't want to get shit on either, and that's what I noticed with the Metro controversy. Like, people are very vocal about that on the other side. So I do think they need to start to play ball with being a bit more aggressive on promoting and taking themselves a lot more seriously. You just can't kiss ass throughout the industry either and expect to get recognized all the time. I can understand that logic as well. So I do think they need to step up their game. At the same time, I do think their PR should be decent, because they don't want to make a mistake, go out here, fuck something up, leak information, and then you have a bunch of angry people that will not use your service anymore. I know people were really pissed about the PS3 information leak, and it was really, really bad during that time.
Yeah.
Like, we had to pay for security protection a year, and it was like $50. And I was like, PlayStation, what the hell are you doing?
Oh, yeah.
That was terrible. I'm so glad they got rid of that and they upped their protection. It's something that should be mandatory at this rate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that whole that company has something to do with taxes. They ended up having a leak that went years unnoticed, and they were like, "Hey, we're going to give you security, but you have to pay us some money first."
Oh yeah.
And it's like, but you guys fucked up. Why would we want to give you money for your fuck up? It's not our fuck up. It's your fuck up.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that, because any wrong move, that could pretty much spell the end of your service.
Oh yes. All right. So we're gonna jump to the next topic here. So Epic Games has mentioned an opt-in feature for reviewers to choose how user reviews will be coordinated on their games to prevent review bombing. God, I can't speak English. So how should user reviews be handled on a platform like this? Should they be like Steam, filtered with much moderation, or should it be some sort of alternative? I think Steam's got it right, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I mean,
I definitely don't think they have it wrong. I mean, I think there's probably a balance to be struck to avoid review bombing, because I mean sometimes it's warranted, like with the GTA 5 modding thing, but a lot of the time it's like completely like unnecessary, and it's very scary like prospect for like someone who has put all this like time and effort into a game that and they're a smaller like developer, and just having someone say organize a review bomb because they didn't like something you said ages ago. I mean, you know, even if it was like something really bad, I mean that and just like completely ruining the prospects of like you ever making money from that game, or like, you know, completely ruining you financially because you spent like all your savings developing the game. That sounds worrying. I mean, sure, like sometimes it's warranted, and it's a way to like get bigger companies to notice you, and
No.
I mean, I you know.
But let me put it the other way around. Imagine that there's a developer with an especially thin skin that can't stand any kind of criticism, and maybe makes a bad game, and people say that it's bad, but since this person can't stand the criticism, they start deleting reviews or set thresholds in a way that it's basically impossible to give a negative review or something like that. Obviously, there must be a middle ground that is mediated by the company itself. We can't just let developers choose at will.
Well, with that, from what I know, I think only the developers they can't delete or anything like that. Like they can't delete reviews at all. That power lies with Steam.
I believe. Yeah.
That's how it should be, because developers, they will abuse that shit. They will abuse the fuck out of it.
It seems like opting in sounds like to me that they can choose to have the reviews up or not for user reviews, and I don't think it should be like that if it is. First and foremost, is like Konzo said, some people, they do have a thin skin when it comes to their game bombing, and they don't like it. They don't like the fan base for saying something bad about it. At the same time, humans are very, very contradictory, and they can complain about like the most minuscule shit. Like, oh, well, my launcher didn't work after. I think someone said like they had a game-breaking bug in a PC game and they didn't shut down and restart and try again. I know you shouldn't be required to do that each and every single time, but again, on startup, if the game works again and you just said, you know what, fuck it, I'm done with this game, I just had one bug and I couldn't restart the launcher, then that lies on the user over the actual game working, you know what I'm saying? So I do think that it needs to be a middle ground. I think reviews should be like Metacritic and Steam combined, where you can filter out good or bad reviews, you know, the ones that people put in a lot of effort and voted on, and they should be at the top as opposed to the ones that are just trolling. Those should be filtered out or put into a section that has its own section, and people can look at those if they want to look at funny reviews and stuff like that. But the ones that are helpful, it should be a tab, and people will go to that tab and click on it and see what are the pros and cons of the game versus, oh, I don't like this guy who worked on this game, he says something on Twitter, and I'm going to give the game a 0. That makes no sense to me. It needs to be filtered out.
Oh yeah, I think as long as like they keep a decent amount of quality control with the games they let in, they're going to be like that'll probably mostly get rid of the thin-skinned developers getting rid of nasty reviews because wow, I don't like that you don't like my game, whatever. But I think that really all you want to do is like have as much data available as possible, and have really nice ways of sorting through the data, like have a lot of options to be able to sort through that data and present it nicely, and that's what you really need to do with this sort of thing.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, like you want when you're doing this sort of thing, you want as much data as possible, and I mean, as if that data looks pretty, all the better for it.
Yeah, I mean, it like the whole like thin skinned talk. I mean, it kind of reminds me a little bit of it was that guy Randy something from Gearbox. You know, yeah, whatever that fuck's name is.
Randy
You know,
Pitchford?
he kept that dumb fuck. After Colonial Marines came out, what a clusterfuck it was. How like all the hate that he was getting, he was just like, well,
He's
fuck him.
kind of
He
just
was like,
blaming
that's
Sega
not my
too.
problem. That's what he was saying.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
should
just blaming Sega too.
Oh, we need a podcast about all the recent shit that's happened with them.
Oh,
Ooh.
Oh god.
Pedophile accusations.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, he apparently.
Not heard anything about that.
Okay, really fast, and this is going to be so off topic, but apparently at one time he left a USB flash drive at a medieval time. Someone found it, and there was photos of child porn on there.
Jesus Christ!
I heard that it was porn. Never heard anything about the child porn part.
We'll talk about this off air, but yeah, oof.
Yeah, he needs to be condemned to death and have his balls
He
castrated.
should have been
and
condemned to death for Borderlands 2, Aliens, Colonial Marines.
he needs to have his testicles eaten by a lion live on TV.
That punishment alone should have been for Battleborn. Like we're just finally
Battleborn.
getting to. Yeah, remember that game? Nobody else does.
You know, didn't that come out at the same time as like Overwatch or something? I don't remember.
I think it came out like a few months later.
It got completely overshadowed. Holy shit!
Yeah, it did. I
For,
mean,
for
at
some
first,
reason, for some reason, they wanted to announce everything at the same time Overwatch did, and I mean, what could have possibly gone wrong?
It came out a few weeks before Overwatch on May 3rd, but people, say what you will about Overwatch. Overwatch gets a lot of shit, but people actually like playing Overwatch because there's a good game in there. Battleborn is, I'll say this nicely, it's like getting a sandpaper hand job.
Like I can't say about the quality of Battleborn because I haven't played it, but
I've played that fucking turd.
all I heard is that like it completely got overshadowed by like all the games that were out at that time. So
It would have gotten overshadowed by anything. It's so bad.
well, I'm gonna take your word
Yeah,
for it
'cause-
on that one.
yeah, because I mean, with Battleborn, I mean, from what I remember, the numbers were sort of steady, but then after Overwatch came out, bye Felicia.
Well, yeah, after like 2 weeks, the numbers were steady, and then the moment a
Yep.
good game comes out, woo!
All right.
It's awful, but we need to get off that topic.
Yeah. Let's get back on topic.
You guys want to jump to question 8 now, or?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
So, people have made the argument, myself included, there are too many PC gaming launchers to cash in with their own storefront, like Battle.net, Uplay, Windows Store, EA Origin, even GOG and Epic Game Store, Steam. Do you guys agree with this sentiment, or do you think it can be resolved in a good way?
I don't think there's a solution for it, because developers also use it, publishers more than developers, also use it as a DRM, probably also to track sales and all that kind of stuff. So I don't really think there will be a solution for it, unless, we nuke everything and go DRM free for the rest of our life.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, sadly.
I
think so.
think maybe there is a possibility that fans or maybe someone third party could make like a universal launcher which just loads everything. If you want to play on Windows Store, see what's going on, here's the tab. If
That
you
was
want to
supposed
see
to be Steam.
Oh yeah. But
Yeah.
But I think that's the only way they can resolve it. Obviously, companies are out to make money, so they're not going to simply say, hey, we got all the competition out there doing their own launchers, let's not get a piece of this pie. That's not how companies work. So they're going to have EA Origin and Uplay and all that stuff for a long, long time.
Well, in a weird way, Discord sort of does that with the little library thing. If you look there, I'll post a screenshot in our call. But yeah, it does it sort of like that, where you can click like any of the games, ignore the Metal Gear Survive beta thing. Ignore that. But yeah, like you can access all your games from Discord, but it also ignores Windows games that are UWPs. So
Yeah, I think something like that, a universal launcher would be good for people who, hey, if you own something on this platform, it just loads up just fine. You know, you just have to press the play button and you're good to go.
yeah.
Well, the problem you have with companies making it's the similar thing with like streaming platforms nowadays. Like Netflix came in and got a big piece of the pie because it was like a centralized thing where all these things came, and all these companies are now thinking, I see that Netflix is making a lot of money being a centralized platform. I'm going to completely miss the point here and create my own platform, diluting the market and adding another thing that people have to subscribe to. And
Yeah, remember when
then you have the
Blockbuster did that?
Same problem with cable, because the problem is it's not that corporations are out to make money; they're out to make all the money they can possibly make without breaking the law. And well, let's face it,
Sometimes
with breaking the law. I mean, you know, like I would say all the money they can make legally is probably like a wishful thinking on my part as well. So
Yeah.
not my part, or the wishful thinking on like the part of people who defend this sort of stuff.
I
Also,
just
you have to think about it.
I just think they don't think about everyone else when it comes to having way too much clutter with other launchers, because I understand, like, you know, they're going to want to capitalize on this and try to get as much bank as they can. At the same time, it's like fucking 6 or 7 launchers out there. People might get confused. They might not know which to choose from. They might just stick to Steam or GOG and that's it. Again, it's quite a mess right now. I just think the only way that people should try to remedy the situation is that you should have something that launches from one platform, something like Discord, or I think there's another program that allows you to launch your games from any platform, like NVIDIA GeForce.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think there's too many launchers out there right now who just want a piece of the cash cow. I mean, there's, to be honest, in my opinion, there's not really a lot one could do to alleviate this issue. I mean, the companies involved, like Renegade said, I mean, the companies involved aren't going to stop what they're doing when they just see dollar signs. They're just seeing profit. They don't really see fans or supporters or the people that hate it or anything like that. Right now, they're just seeing dollar signs.
Yeah, and I don't think companies are going to make a universal launcher. That would defeat the purpose.
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that like companies nowadays, it's a mixture of like too much legal power on their part and too much complacency on like the majority of the consumers' part. Because I mean, not only do consumers just sort of like suck it up, it's not that bad, sort of not really caring about all the crap, but also the companies that do them, they just have too much teeth. Like they're so rich, they just can sort of like do whatever they want, and then if the government sort of thinks, oh wait, this is a bit shitty, I mean, you get not only do you get lobbyists, people like paying them to go, oh no, it's not actually that shitty, but you also get like people you know, complaining about regulation and the free market, while also, you know, completely ignoring the fact that it's not a free market anymore. And I mean, it's you know, it's sort of like if corporations are a person, then you're sort of getting to the problem with like the robber barons of like the 1800s with Carnegie and Rockefeller and all that.
Yeah.
Except granted without the Pinkerton riots.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
granted, Disney isn't killing its workers when they strike.
Holy
Not
shit!
yet.
Not,
Not yet.
not yet, but I mean,
See,
they call it Mauschwitz for a reason.
That took like a dark turn fast.
Yeah, a little bit of dark. Here's one thing I'll say about the launchers and all this. We're never hopefully going to see a monopoly, which is great. You know, that's why everyone's like, oh, I want this console to die. I'm like, no, they're not going to die because one, someone will come up because there has to be something as competition. Because otherwise, monopoly laws will come into play, and nobody wants a monopoly.
Yes, I agree.
It's the same thing with like television channels in the past. In the like 60s, 70s, 80s, the most you probably had was like 20 channels. Now, if you sign up for a fucking television plan, they're offering you 250, 300, 400, 500 channels on your TV. The same with streaming services, you know, Netflix, your Hulu's. There's always going to be an expansion.
Yeah, I mean, in any industry, whether it's like what you mentioned or the gaming industry, it's pretty much kind of like shark's teeth, you know? I mean,
Oh yeah.
if one gets knocked down or anything like that, there's always one that's going to replace it. It's just never ending, really. I mean, no matter what. I mean, these are facts. I mean,
And if something's profitable to one company, another company is going to try it immediately.
yeah, like for example, let's just say Uplay suddenly shuts down. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, another company would take advantage of that.
Oh yeah.
It's the same principle with the whole, shark's teeth.
And in a weird way, we're really lucky none of these like big launchers have died yet. Because if you would have told me 5 years ago that Origin would still be around, I'd be like, that's adorable.
I'm surprised
Yeah.
Rockstar Games, they don't have their own store yet, but they have their own launcher, which is the Social Club.
Well,
So
they do in a weird way. Like you
They
can
do?
buy stuff from their website,
oh yeah,
but
yeah.
it has to like you get a physical copy for it. So
Oh yeah, they I think they're gonna go digital next. I think they might
Well,
see the piece in the pie.
by the way,
As long
can
as
I
they don't
just
pull up
say,
Bethesda.
the sad state of PC physical copies, right? The only company I know that's actually putting out really anything PC wise is THQ Nordic. Everybody else is either putting out like a fucking code with a code in a box, or like a disc. It's just an activator for Steam. I fucking hate it. It pisses me off.
Didn't PC Physical die a long time ago?
It was in a rough state, but not this rough.
I actually bought the first two Modern Warfares off of eBay. Like physical copies for PC. And what I didn't realize until I got them and opened them is
They had
that
codes.
even though you've got a CD, they also come with a one-time use
Activation
Steam code, and it basically made the discs completely worthless. I mean,
See, that-
granted, I bought them for like they were £1 each off eBay. So I mean, it's sort of not a huge loss, but it was incredibly.
I could imagine that pissed me
annoying.
right the fuck off. I'd be
Oh
like,
yeah,
God
I was
damn
like,
it."
Also,
what the fuck is this?
Yes, all this kind of digital stuff also doesn't take in consideration people with slow internet connections like mine.
Oh yeah.
I made an estimate. The last Red Dead Redemption 2 is about 100 gigabytes in weight. Is that correct? Okay, so with my internet speed, it takes me, let's say, an average of 1 hour to download 1 gigabyte. Sometimes it's less,
Holy
sometimes
shit.
it's slightly more. So if you take 100 hours, and each day has 24 hours, last time I checked, it would take me
About
The-
4.
5 days or I mean, too much time to download this game, and that if I keep them running 24/7, because otherwise it may take me more than a week just to download the game.
The game currently on my Xbox is 110.7 gigabytes.
Okay, so let's say 111.
Yeah,
I know it's a
it's a good bit of time.
I know it's a side topic.
5 days at least.
5 days to download Red Dead 2G. I know it's a side topic, side statement from me rather, but developers, please, for the future, don't go all digital for stuff like this, because that's going to really, really hurt a lot of people who just want to get the game, install it, and, it won't take 5 days to have a physical copy.
Oh, yeah. Offer a retail physical copy if your game is over at least 50 gigs. Please, Jesus fuck.
Absolutely.
At this point, I'm begging some developers. I bought the Division 1 on PC, and it was 6 discs, and you don't know how fucking happy I was. I was like, sweet, I don't have to wait for it to install. My disc reader's really fucking fast. I've never been happier.
Just like in the old MS-DOS days where games were split into
floppies, just over and over.
They came in both 5.5 and 3.25. No, 3.5 and 5.25.
I personally, I don't know about you guys, but with Red Dead Redemption 2, I liked how it came with 2 discs, so it didn't take forever just to install the game.
Install one, install the other, play from the second.
Yep.
Actually, on Xbox, to play from the first. Yeah.
Huh.
It's a little weird on that one.
All right, but that was a good divergence.
That's a good tangent. Yeah,
a good tangent. So we're gonna get right back to the next 2 questions.
We're gonna jump into question 9 here. So going forward, what are some common issues that most digital distribution clients should rectify to gain your support? Again, retail copies, please don't make them with just like 1 disc and it's an activation disc.
I would say something like, if something ever happened to the digital store that you got it from, that, like, for example, if it decided to shut down, that you could keep the game, that it didn't just fade away to nothingness with the company.
So actual ownership, like in GOG, basically.
Pretty much, yes.
Okay, so mine
also for me, it's all about the emotes. You gotta have you've got to add some good emotes.
For me, mine's is a basic answer. Really quick, I'm sorry, Konzo, to cut you off. It's just gonna take me like
go
a
ahead.
few minutes.
Mine is very quick.
Yeah. So mine's a simple, a good help center for questions and answers, please, because one of the things I hated about the 360 era is when the Xbox is red ringed and you called Microsoft, it took you like fucking ages to really get hold of someone. I would like to speak to a human immediately if I'm having like an issue with your store or an issue with one of the things that I couldn't access on the website with the game. Some stores will tell you that, oh, well, in order to get a response, you have to wait 24 hours. And I think that's ridiculous. I like a live instant chat that people will help me troubleshoot and get problems resolved ASAP.
Yeah, and like real answers, not
a robot or something like
that.
Or something like, did you make sure to turn it off, turn it on again?
Yes, I remember once I was writing, I was in chat for support of one thing, and the person on the other side said something like, I'm checking the issue, please bear with me, but bear in the sense of getting naked and not in the sense of please be patient.
Wow.
So yes, this is the quality of chat you may get sometime, and that's definitely something that needs to be addressed. Also, another thing that I'd like to have is a proper offline support, because sometimes there's people, there have been complaints in the past, I think, of single player games that still required you to be logged in and online in the client.
Oh yeah, that should go. If you want to play offline and it's single player and you don't need an online connection, then I don't see why you still have to log in to the launcher itself.
Even though I mean, you also logging in, but if the connection goes down,
You still want to play the game. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say at the beginning of the podcast. That's what I was trying to say. Like games starting them up online and everything like that. Sometimes it's just bullshit that you just have to be online and then launch it from the launcher. I don't like it.
Yeah, quite frankly, I think the problem. I'd say half the problem is like the fucking infrastructure of the internet just not being good enough. Like I think that people should be getting better internet and stop being so okay with having crappy internet. Like for instance, if South Korea can have like 100 gigabyte per second download speeds, then I think that I think that it's at this point it's like how on earth is like the entire and I mean, granted, I do think that there should be obviously offline like options, but I think that we should be getting better internet. I mean, considering how like connected the world is nowadays, and how like pretty I consider the internet fairly essential for like most people's lives in the modern age. So I think that the concept of like just having slow internet and just living with it is just it really irritates me how complacent people are with like just crappy internet, what can you do, when like really I think that I'd maybe like to see the government or something maybe looking into sort of providing at least some form of like basic internet. And with basic I mean like let's face it, the sort of like higher speed sort of things, like I get something like a 50 megabit per second internet speed, like that should be the very basic sort of internet speed that you could get nowadays, because considering like there are people in other countries and like in that can get like what even that
Italy has a big issue with internet connection, for instance.
Yeah, like
let me look for some statistics actually. Let's see. Italy internet. There was actually some internet in Italy. Overview, internet regulation. Well, no, it would take me too much, but let's say that there's some areas that don't have internet yet, I think. So that in the sense of wire internet, and that gives an idea of the situation.
There's also places that it's very rare, but I've heard from some people that live in foreign countries, they don't have access to certain launchers or certain games because it might be some region lock or some issues going on there. So I think, I would like all that squashed out, because I don't think someone should the idea of getting a game should just be, hey, import it for like an absurd amount of money and you'll be able to play it then. I think it should be an even playing field where you live. If you want to buy a game for retail price instead of the price being inflated just because you have to import that certain game.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, a lot of things I've seen online, a lot of people say that they get tired of having to use VPNs.
I mean, VPNs, I think they're necessary in general, especially if you're ever worried about your security online. A VPN is almost necessary. But the whole state of the internet, there's a lot more, and it's government and, a place like Comcast, Spectrum, whatever your provider is. They fuck around with the little guys. They really do.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I
think
pay for
it's-
business class because it's the only way they don't fuck you over.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And I pay $100 a month for my internet.
Oh Jesus Christ! I mean, I think it's bad enough over here in the UK. Like, 50 megabits per second is absolutely nothing compared to like a lot of.
I get 100 down, so that's a positive. But
Yeah.
All right,
But,
so
yeah, I also I think with the region locking thing, I think that's like just bad for the industry in general, because I think that
Absolutely.
the more people you get in different countries playing video games, the more people you'll get like loving video games, and the more people loving video games, the more developers you'll get, and the more developers in different countries you'll get, like the more the better games you'll get. Like, I mean,
I
honestly,
think
I
it'll-
can't. I mean, can you imagine what like a video game developed by like African developers like like it being influenced by their culture would look like compared to say
the West or the East. Or...
the West or the East. I mean,
I'm intrigued.
it's a guy who
like-
wanted to join our gaming podcast and he can't because he lives like in a certain country where Discord is banned. Actually, I think it's called the UFE.
Oh yeah,
The Emirates.
Yeah. So he can't get on
It's-
our
it
podcast
wouldn't
because
be
Discord
the-
is banned.
It wouldn't be the
Right,
first
the
person. I
UAE.
heard of somebody else that had
Nothing
to use a VPN to access Discord that lives in the Emirates.
Yep.
and some of those like, if without getting too political, United Arab Emirates is a little iffy on certain things.
Strict?
Yeah.
Yeets.
Without getting again too political here.
Well,
It all depends on like the country and a whole bunch of other things.
well,
And
without getting too political.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
we
I
are
wouldn't
diverging
com-
like quite a lot though.
yeah.
a tiny bit. We're close to the end. We can diverge a little bit.
Yeah, but we should get on question
yeah.
10.
I'll say one thing.
Oh,
I
right.
I think in a weird way, consoles are starting like this gen, the Switch, Xbox, PS4. They're all region free except for I think PS4 is locked on Street Fighter V.
That's a weird choice, actually. Like
I think that's the game.
a
There's one
crossplay
on
game
PS4.
that's region locked.
I think it is. I'll have to look into that one because there's some game on the PS4. There's only one game or like two games that are region locked on the PS4. But yeah, I think consoles are leading the way with this one, and you can only hope that these PC launchers will take that and just grab the flag and run with it. But we're gonna wrap this up to close off this podcast. What feature would you guys like to be seen built into a gaming launcher on PC that hasn't been done at all or often in the future? I've got one
I
word.
mean,
Oh, go on.
Each one says
far
their
in the
own?
future are we talking?
Like features from other things you'd like to see, and I'm gonna take one from Nvidia Shadowplay that I really like, and that's
Right.
their like just in-game recording, kind of like Xbox, PS4, and Shadowplay.
Motherfucker, you stole my
Right.
answer.
But he's right,
it's
though.
A
That's-
good
that- that's-
answer.
Yeah.
It's something I haven't thought.
I mean, I was
because,
going to say blowjob and nacho dispenser, but that's probably not near future. So
That's
I don't
cyberpunk, man.
yeah,
because I mean, that's actually a. No, please finish.
yeah. No, I was going to say like I'd probably like go for three things to list off. I'd probably want better like streaming stuff. So like something a bit more Twitch based. Better. More friend stuff and maybe gamify a few things. Like I know Steam has like levels for and badges and stuff, so maybe something a bit more like that. Like
Yeah.
like with the summer sale game like they did last year with the alien thing. I think maybe something like that, but like a little less like flash gamey. But I mean,
I have
I
one.
don't quite like. It's a bit nebulous about how they'd implement that. I don't know.
I have one. International gifting, where if someone lives in another country and you live in the U.S., you should be able to still receive their gift because apparently, according to Singlong, he is Canadian and he tries to gift games to people in the U.S. in the server, and he can't because he is Canadian and United States people can't gift games between people that lives in Canada.
It was done to
Well,
prevent all the kind of regional precinct tampering that, like, you log in within Russia, you buy your game for like half the price or stuff like that.
Like a quarter of the price sometimes.
Yeah, it sucks, but I mean, a gift's a gift. If they bought the game like legally, I don't see what the problem is giving it to someone else.
Business wise, I can understand because the developers would be like, "What the fuck?" And I get it from Steam as a business, but it does kind of suck. I think it should work either way.
Maybe add some kind of limit that you can gift a game only a certain amount of time if they are in different regions. Something like, just...
You know what? Make them pay the price for who they're sending it to at that point.
Yeah.
Yes, that also might be
Yeah.
good.
That'd make it totally fair.
Make more sense, but unfortunately, like, it's a lot of work to for something that at the end of the day isn't really that common. I mean,
I also have one thing I also think that some of these stores should implement. Allow us to buy codes for games and then, like, give them away. I know that would probably pretty much make, like, I know a lot of companies are wanting to try to stop, like, G2A and stuff like that. But sometimes it would just be easier to just buy a code and give someone a code for, like, Christmas or something.
Yeah, I mean, that will be one way to gift things without that much hassle, really.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I mean, I usually use like the Humble store and Fanatical for that because they're like they're legit companies. But I have to admit, I don't think I've ever really seen anything other than Steam keys on there.
Yeah.
I think Uplay does it occasionally.
Uplay, I've seen some Origin, like they've had Origin Humble bundles.
Yes,
they've even had PlayStation Humble bundles.
I think there is Indigala, which is this other company that sometimes sells keys for stuff that is not Steam.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because my girlfriend actually gifted me Uno, and she's in Canada.
It might have been the same price. It's weird.
That's why when Renegade mentioned that, I'm like, huh?
That's so, yeah. Singh also said, like, sometimes it works for certain people, sometimes it doesn't. So I just think that universally it's an issue that should be remedied, just in case. Because he gifted me, like, things before, and then he gifted me other shit, and I couldn't get it because there was some regional issue going on.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I agree with that. There should be at least gifting, like, if it fits, like, for example, with the laws of that said country,
I mean, and I know it's diverging from PC, but gifting on PS4 as well, because someone lived in my country. I tried to give them DLC, and I couldn't give them DLC because there was no way to give it to them.
All right, so I think we can wrap this up right now. Actually, Tonto. Yep.
Yes,
My bad.
No, don't worry. I was saying, the thing you said about recording is true, actually. It's not something that I have thought about, but something that I'd like to see more of in the future. First off is an actual ownership of games, like in GOG, that it was touched before.
Yeah.
But there's also this other thing that I noticed. With the refunds of Steam in place, it's almost as if you have like a 2 hours grace period in which you can try a game basically free of charge.
Yeah.
I also think, just to add on real quick and piggyback, I think they need to allow more linear streaming options because NVIDIA Shadowplay, the streaming option is very limited there. Like, I think you only get 720p and that's it. So maybe they can crank that up a little bit to 1080.
I think depending on your CPU, it can be like 1080.
Oh yeah, my CPU can handle like 1080p, no problem.
Which one do you have?
Let me see. I have an i9.
No, CPU.
Yeah, CPU.
Or GPU. I mean, fuck, I'm dumb.
GPU? I have a 1080.
Oh. That's okay then. That's fucking weird. I thought that. All right, I thought I could do that. I'm dumb. I'm gonna shut up.
No, I don't think it can. I only got like 720p options.
These 2 hours grace period. Why not make it a 2 hours trial period for every game? You get to play the game for free for 2 hours, so you can get yourself an idea of how it is and how it looks, and if you want to actually buy it. And it may also be a deterrent for people that make bad games, because if you can make a game that can be completed in less than 2 hours, for instance, or something that it's basically done just to farm achievements, people will basically get them. You do that for free, and the person that abuses the system to get a quick buck won't get their quick buck.
I mean, the problem with that is with like free demos. I think extra credits made a very like good explanation of why demos really make absolutely zero business sense, because there is like a there's like a very, very rare like scenario where the like person actually buys the game because of a demo. So like there's a lot of so there's like I think probably like 3 or 4, even 6 like different scenarios where, like, you know, you either get someone disliking the, like, you know, if the game's bad and they make a demo, then no one's gonna buy it. And I don't really remember exactly what the video said, but it was basically on the lines of, like, you know, demos make really very little business sense, and they are basically wasted time on behalf of the developers for very little reward. And I mean, sure, you get a lot of people, you know, you get abusive developers, but you also very occasionally, and I don't really like think I'm wording this correctly, but you do also get like slightly entitled like people when it comes to stuff, especially entertainment. I mean, I you know, this is a very rare and weird anecdotal example, but I can remember one guy who I sort of knew a while back who he basically was said that he pirated because he thought that all games should be free, and he didn't. Although I think that was more on him not being not really understanding how money works.
Yeah,
I think that's solely on him, and I think that's kind of a catch-22, because I think even if the demo, like you said, you know, some people don't do demos because they are afraid that the game might be received poorly. But at the same time, people look at review scores, and as soon as they come out, because you got to have the game come out and review to people, and they see the bad scores, the game will probably not sell anyway if people see that. So it's all like really just based on perspective and what people really think. I think developers should be confident to make a good game, and they shouldn't just be putting out, you know, half-ass efforts on the market because really people want to play a good game. That's the general mindset of certain gamers. They want to play a game that's fun, that caters to their time. Sometimes reviews are wrong too. Like, I've played a lot of games that were supposedly bad, like Batman Arkham Origins, and I really love that game. So it's all a matter of perspective and opinion on that topic, and I think samples would be nice, but I don't think they should be too long, in my opinion.
All right.
Yeah, I definitely think that there's a balance to be connected again with these sort of things. Like, you know, I think that we should really focus on you know, being good for the consumer, as to being good for the company. But I do think that there's definitely like a limit. I mean, I'd probably say that my personal limit for it would probably be a lot like more in favor for the consumers than say some people. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think that there's definitely like, there's only so much that a company can reasonably do. Although, quite frankly, I think that it's very rare that company ever really meets those limits. So it's not sort of really a non-issue on that part, I suppose.
All right. I think we can sort of wrap this up now, right?
Yep.
All right. So, everyone, I've been Bane. You can find me at the usual channels, etc., etc. I'm going to work this down. So, Rin.
You can find me on Twitter at rentoperative_. You can find me on YouTube at Renegade Operative. I don't think I'll be doing much on my main channel because I'm taking a 2-week break. But I do have some stuff lined up. Some people wanted me to review the new Resident Evil, so I definitely will do that when I get the chance.
All right. Cryo, where can we find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at at Cryo Gaming, and you can also find me on my YouTube Cryo Gaming as well.
All right. And Llama, where can we find you at?
You can find my Twitch at Bamalama. You can find me usually on my Twitch channel at Bamalama Ding Dong. That's where I am mostly. You can also follow me on Twitter at Snoztwaddle. That's where I am on secondly. And I mean, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, I guess. I mean, I might do a video within the next year, so that's something to look forward to, I guess. But yeah, it's mostly just Twitch, and I guess my final thought is Steam. Please get on that blowjob and nacho dispenser.
All right, and Conso.
Also, I usually host Conso's video games perspectives on YouTube, usually about old games and any kind of trivial and uninteresting stuff, and at least as far as English content goes. And I hope to come up with something in my main language, Italian, as well someday. I've got something in the works, but nothing definitive, hopefully high-quality content. And, of course, I also am on Twitter, but the tag is VG Perspectives, but I don't know how much I will be active on it. I'm busy with university and all that kind of stuff. But, well, I hope somebody will stay and step in and have a look at my stuff.
All right. Well, hey, this has been the IAS podcast special on our thoughts on PC gaming launchers and the coming competition for the biggest one, Steam. Right?
Yep.
All
Have a
right.
good one.
See you guys
Good night.
later.
Yep.